So, when is the best time to start creating your tomorrow? That's what we're going to be talking about today on Truth Bomb Live. Welcome, everyone. Excited to be hanging out with you here. I am Karen, in case we haven't met. I'm one of the co founders here inside of Truth Bomb. And I'm just all about showing you how to actually start enjoying your business again and start having fun. So,
Mm.
that's me.
Ooh, I love it. I'm Heidi Muma, and I'm one of the co-founders here. And I love to see women taking profit in their business and not giving away their courses so cheaply just to make a buck
Ooh.
and not actually creating profit. I saw that today on Facebook, just made me frustrated because I'm like,
Yeah. My name is Chef Katrina, and again, I'm one of the co-founders, co-creators of this incredible female-driven entrepreneurship academy. My passion and love is really keeping the processes in place and keeping things simple. I think we've overcomplicated a lot with technology, and I just love keeping it super simple and playful around building a business because otherwise it feels like it's one big drudgery. Literally, drudgery, I
mm,
like that word. It's my big word for the end of
It's your
this year. Yeah.
big word, huh?
drudgery, the
Yeah.
gremlins.
hmm Well,
Mm.
we've had gremlins attack, all the computers, and we've had gremlins do all sorts of crazy things. We always blame it on the gremlins, so I figured drudgery was a good word to throw in there.
Well, it's either that or blame Mercury retrograde, which people like to do, but
Oh yeah, yeah,
that's
yeah. Mercury,
ridiculous.
Mercury's retrograde always gets blamed for everything. I'm telling you, it's
Uh,
brutal out there.
Mm.
Ugh, the atmosphere, the planets, they're all to blame for all of the craziness. So we've just wrapped up, or we're just wrapping up this year. We only have a week left. That's it. We have like 6 days left of 2023. How's it been so far? When has been the best time to plan? When is the best time to move into like 2024? What's kind of been some of our ahas this year, each one of you? I'm just very curious. Like, what's been your aha around planning? What's been your aha this year around a lot of what we've done in business and how we've worked with other women?
I mean, for me, I've never really struggled with planning like a lot of women do. And so I understand that is a huge thing that people are like, how do I get it all in? For me, the thing that I have struggled with is going, I have a lot of things to do.
Hmm.
Uh-oh, how do I release the feeling that it has to all get done now?
Mm.
That for me has been a thing that has continually been a part of my life that I'm like, I am willing to let this go. And it's one of those things that I consistently work on to notice what are the thoughts that I'm thinking around it. And what's fun is the more you pull at strings with certain thoughts, more thoughts that are connected to it start to come out as well. And you start to notice this is where that pattern comes from. This is how come I feel the way that I do.
Hmm.
And I don't have to feel that way anymore. And that probably was a deep seated childhood experience that a lot of us have, where it's like, oh, I have to feel this way because this happened to me. And so we hang on to things like that from childhood. And it creates this stuff in adulthood where you feel like you're living in survival and you're rushing and you're running around and you're hurrying to get things done because you feel like you don't have time to complete it all. And yeah, so for me, that at the end of the day has been like I can release this. That's been my big focus for probably the past 3 years, to be completely honest, to just completely release that. And in a lot of ways, I feel like I've done a great job. And I also see that there's more to do for myself because,
Hmm.
like I said, you start pulling at that thought and you start realizing it's connected to other thoughts that are also are not serving you. So it's just, I don't know, for me, it's fun to figure myself out. And that's one thing that I suggest for any female entrepreneur that's trying to build a business. Focus on figuring yourself out first.
Yeah.
Everything else starts to fall into place when you start figuring yourself out and realizing the things that actually don't serve you. And actually, when you have a thought, I had one this morning. I don't even remember what the thought was because it was a mundane thought. But
Hmm.
after I had it, I went, what if it doesn't have to be that way?
Hmm.
And so that's the question I ask myself a lot. So I urge each and every one of you as you're listening, like any thought that you have during the day, what if it doesn't have to be that way? What
Hmm.
if it could be a different way? And like I said, this doesn't have to be like these big grandiose thoughts, because this thought that I had this morning that this was connected to was very simple and very much like, well, but what if it doesn't have to be
Mm,
that way? It creates more of this flexibility. And for me, stepping into flexibility and just enjoying where I am with everything has created more joy than just about anything.
yeah.
Mm.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I think you're right though too. It's like it's about learning yourself and being able to step back and look at things differently. I know for me in the past, it's like I tend to um rush through things, and sometimes I like if I think something's taken too long, or I like I but I think this year with the way that we've
Guilty.
done what?
Guilty.
Yeah. I think it's like the way we've done the schedule, and it's like I often it's like in the past, I think it's like planning in December, November and December for the next year. And I did this with my kids' school too. It's like I'm super ramped up in the beginning of the year, I'm super, and it's like it goes really, really well. And then things just slowly kind of unravel throughout the year. And this year, it's like I love that when we meet every week, it's like we're setting up that new week. So
Mm,
it's like every week was a new beginning, and was like, and the fact that we actually consider how do I feel about this? How do I feel? It's like, and that's something that was a new idea. And it was just like, wow, it's like, yeah, some weeks I felt better about it than other weeks. And other weeks I looked at it, I was like, well, if I don't if if my intention for the week isn't like how do I fulfill that intention, that actually has helped me to set the weeks up in a more in a manner that just works better. And I'm not saying every single week flowed perfectly, no,
Never
but
does.
it wasn't like I started the year all ramped up and it all fell apart by March.
yeah.
It was I love that it's every week we kind of set it up. And so it wasn't like just the beginning of the year and then you kind of forgot about it. So that really worked for me this year, and it helped me to learn a little bit more about myself, just how to keep that energy and that flow and the of going even like throughout the year, not just at the beginning of the year.
Yeah. I think so many times we start the beginning of the year as if like that's going to change everything. And we do. We go into the year with a lot of excitement, a lot of like anticipation.
Anticipation.
Anticipatory,
Anticipatory.
anticipation.
Anticipation.
Yeah.
Great word. Needs to be
Yeah.
added to the truth bomb dictionary.
Yeah. Yeah. But it's like we walk into that, and it's true. So many people say, well, then by like the end of March or by the end of February, there's no accountability. Like the excitement is, so like, how do you keep that going? How do you keep that sense of planning, that sense of excitement, that sense of building the business? Because otherwise it does become, and I'm gonna use my word again, drudgery. It literally starts feeling like you're on the hamster wheel and you're wondering like, is this the same thing I'm going to have to do every single day? And I think that is what stops most people, because, and honestly, most businesses are built in the simplicity. It's not the
All
complication. It's not
businesses.
trying to make more for your work for yourself. It's actually found in the simplicity of the process and what you're doing. And the easier you can make it, it's going to sound counterintuitive because most of us like to struggle. We like the idea of struggling, we like things to be hard so that we feel like we've accomplished. This is, I know Kara's
I
shaking her,
know.
no, right?
Yeah, it is such a
But
common thought process though.
that
You're
is
right.
such a thing. It's like, and it's one of the things as an entrepreneur. It's like, well, you're gonna struggle in the beginning. You're gonna have some difficult times. You're gonna have ups and downs. It's like we've been given like this. It's gonna be hard mentality around being an entrepreneur, and unfortunately, that's not even a truth, right? Like it doesn't have to be that way. And so what's been interesting is that as we've really simplified the system and the process for not only our company, Truth Bomb, but also helping other women put this simple accountability in, it's like they have a place to go. And so many times I've heard members also say, well, I haven't been productive this week, so I didn't want to show up for Time Magic because I don't have anything to report. And I'm always of the mindset, it's like, but that's when you show up, because then no matter how your previous week goes, what you're coming here for is to create newly each week. right? Like this is your opportunity to let go of whatever you've been holding on to or evaluate that and then step newly into whatever it is you're actually creating in your life. So, so many people think it's focused strictly on business, but women, let's be honest, we are more than just our business. And so when we look at all 7 areas of our life and we incorporate that into our week and we look at what we're really focused on, I think that's a big piece of the puzzle. And then the simplicity of it, it's crazy because it is so simple. Yet if it's like, how can it be that easy? And it's like, how is it not that easy? Like, isn't that the whole point of having a business is that you should be having fun, that it should be easy and that it should be something that you're enjoying? Like, that's what I'm always thinking. Like, if you're gonna make the income, do it. And then Heidi, pointing back to you again on this one, I think so many people get stuck, and I love that we have this conversation because I really, really wish I had had this conversation somewhere in all my training in business, the money conversation.
Hmm.
I really would love to have had someone say, hey, this is how your money through your business flows. Like I got the personal finances. Like I read all the Rich Dad Poor Dads. I got like how to balance my own finances, but there seems to be at least for me, there was a different mindset coming into the business. And I feel like there was times that I didn't understand how business money was the same as my personal money, but how to treat it better. Right.
Hmm.
Again, simplifying the process of like making sure the MAC tax money was set aside. How do you create a business where you're not just surviving, but
Right.
actually, creating that momentum, that income, that profit? It's been
Yeah, and
really
I think, well, I think for also I know it's like almost every
interesting.
business like I got into at first, at least the first year, you treat it like you are just pouring money back into the business. So any money that comes in is just put back into the business to help the growth of the business. And there isn't an investment piece that we put into our business because it's like, your business is an investment. And so there is a buy-in, but the how switch in the mentality that when you make sales, that every time it's the money is it's separated, it has a purpose.
Mm.
It's not just in there to pay your website bill, to pay your subscriptions that you've signed up for. Every time that money comes in, and I think that kind of that switch, as far as I know for me, it's like when I realize it's like part of that is an actual paycheck to us. I'm just like, it makes the business, it changes your mindset around the business.
Mm.
It's like when you actually get paid by your business instead of just like, I know sometimes in the past, it's like my way of paying myself was paying one of my personal bills with
Oh,
the
no, I bought
business.
myself a computer. I paid myself because I
Yeah,
bought my new computer that I desperately needed. That was paying myself. Yes.
yeah, that's how I've paid myself. I bought myself something that I needed for the business, but
Hmm.
I called it, that was like, but it's so counterproductive. And it's like, and I love it. It's like when it's like we do pay ourselves out of, it's like how it just, it makes, I mean, we talk about creating fun in our business and it's like, it's fun to get paid. It just is. It's
I
just
like
like,
money.
yeah,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a reward. It's something, it's you're doing this. Yeah, we do this. A lot of women want to create something that they then are able to have an impact on those around them. And that's fantastic. I love that. I love everything that we do in Truth Bomb does impact the women in the community. And even those who aren't in the community, we do have an impact on what we're talking about, what we're teaching, what we're training. And it's like, but at the same time, that we're in business to make a profit. We're in business to increase our livelihoods, our lives, because we know that this is what we want to do with our lives.
Well, and I've seen a lot of coaches and content creators and course creators. This is one of those big areas where everyone kind of flux like comes in. It's because it's flexibility. Like, oh, you can coach on your own time. You can just create courses and they can sell themselves. Like there's a lot of hype and stuff sold around how to be a coach. The one question, because I've been coaching for a long time, and I'd really wish somebody had like kind of been this abrupt with me almost, but it's like, when are you going to stop coaching? Like, what's the end of this? Right? Like, where the money is coming in, but where is it going from here? Like, I really wish someone had to kind of smack me in the face, because unfortunately, all these programs out there talk about how you can be a high end coach and you can ask for all this money, or you can tie yourselves co-brand, not tie yourself, but co-brand with other coaching programs. I mean, there are some great ones out there. There's Jack
Absolutely.
Canfield. There's
Yep.
gosh, who else is out there? There's a lot of different coaching programs that you can join and be a coach for. The question that I'm always asking now, having coached for so long and recognize that I'm one person, what's the end game? Right? What is the end game to the business? Like where are we looking at? Okay, I'm bringing in this coaching income. How is this income actually going to change my life? Because unfortunately, as a coach, when you have that kind of income coming in, we don't separate it because we're a 1099. And a lot of the times we don't think as a 1099, I'm getting a check, I'm getting an affiliate commission from this company, I'm getting paid. We don't treat it as a separation of business. We treat it as if like we're going to a job. And I think that's why so many women go back to a job, because A, you're not paying yourself out of yours. You're not setting aside the income or your profits to be able to go invest in another income source or another investment strategy, right? So for me, I really wish someone had had a real talk about, hey, you're making this kind of income. Now we need to make sure that it continues to feed you beyond coaching, because so many coaching practices. I was talking with a friend of mine. He's reduced his coaching program by 90% so that he can have more creativity time.
Yeah.
Because you can't coach and create. Like you're really in one or the other.
Yeah.
And so how do you continue to bring in new clients if you're constantly coaching clients, right? And then where does the end go, right? Or how do you ascend these people, these clients, into other programs or other services, and you still get paid a residual income? Like, what is that process? Because so many of us are excited to be coaches, excited to be creators of content and products, and AI is helping out so much with us being able to create courses in like a blink of an eye. Then what? Like the money's in, but just as I've seen with everybody else, the money comes in and the money also goes out. And there's no sustainability with the income because it's still a financial hiccup. And I think that we're missing in the world of business.
Yeah. Yeah. I definitely agree. Honestly, like, it is one of the saddest things that I see, where you have people that have made 6, 7 figures and they're like, I don't want to do this anymore because I'm not actually making the money that I want to, because I'm pouring it into something else. And or they are working so much that they're just completely burnt out. And I see that one so much, and it's kind of heartbreaking, because it's like, I get it, I've been there, I've done that. But when you get to that point where you're like, I'm working all the time, instead of going, I just need to stop completely, ask yourself, well, what else can I do differently so that I'm not the only person here? So maybe you need to hire somebody. Maybe, like you said, you need to scale down because you want to actually focus on content creation. I know for me, I love content creation. It's fun. I enjoy being able to create something that looks really cool on social media. That, for me, there's a creativity factor that I enjoy.
Yeah.
And so for me, I never want to just completely let that go. I've told my husband before, I'm like, I could just sit and do video all day, every day. Like, that makes me happy. That literally brings me so much joy. I don't necessarily need to do all the other things, but I know that it's part of it. But I can also go, okay, well, how can I have someone else help me along the way? So that those other things get paid attention to as well. So I think that that's something that women are notoriously good at, is ignoring asking for help.
Yeah, we are really good at that. We
Mhm.
got this. Nobody can do it as good as I can.
No, 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 no,
I'm
no,
the
no, no.
only one that can do it this way. I've tried having people help and they've let me down. Like I've
Hmm.
seen heard it all. Trust
Yeah,
me.
yeah.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it's there's a thought process, and I talk about this all the time. There's a thought process that you keep telling yourself, like the thought process of nobody can do it as good as I can. Well, how come? What's the reason for that?
Oh,
Let's think about
scarcity.
this.
Oh, scared.
Yeah,
Scared to have somebody else be able to do what you do. That's
exactly.
why
That
everyone's so happy because you've copied their idea. You've copied, I mean,
exactly.
you're so afraid to let anybody else have an idea. It
Yep.
is crazy.
Yep. This desire to, maybe there's a desire to be better than everyone too. I don't know. Like at the end of the day, it's you're having the thought and there's something that's sponsoring the thought. So that's the reason that I say keep digging out those dots, keep
Mhm.
going. What else is there? What else is there? What else is it? Because there's always more to keep unplugging and undigging and
Yeah.
going, oh, that's how that's connected. Oh, that's how come that came out of my mouth. Oh, that's how come I was triggered by that. Oh, that's how come this is what's going on with me. Like there's just so much that goes into it. Our brains are literally creating our reality by each and every one of our thoughts. So, I mean, at the end of the day, you can keep living the life that you're living if you're happy with it. Nobody said that you can't keep doing what you're doing if you're loving what where you are.
Yep.
But
Hmm.
if there's an ounce of you that's like, I wish it was like this. There's probably a thought process that is keeping you where you are. There's
Mhm.
probably a thought process that's making you say, well, this is the way that it has to be. What if you could let it go? What if you could look at something mundane and go, does it really have to be like that? What if it didn't? What if, like Heidi said in one of her videos recently, what if you laid down and took a shower? What would that be like? What are the possibilities? What if you ran the dishwasher twice or
Nice.
three times? I mean, what if? There's a whole lot of possibility out there. And when we keep ourselves stuck in this one way of thinking, it doesn't
Hmm.
serve us at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And it's so funny. We've been trained to think in more of our right brain, which is more of our logical mind. That's just how we've grown up. It's like, don't cross the street without holding mommy's hand. There's a reason behind it, but did you really
Hmm.
think through the outside of the box of, well, what else can I do? Well, maybe there's a bridge that I can walk over. There's nobody that's going to hit me if I walk over the bridge. But we don't think about these things. We just say, "Oh, I have to hold mommy's hand when I cross the walkway." We don't think about other possibilities. And when we tap into that left side of our brain and we go, "Wait a minute, there's a lot of creativity over here."
Hmm.
One of the biggest reasons that I meditate, because I will literally have thoughts like purple unicorns or purple hippopotamuses come up in my head. And I'm like, where did that come from? And then lo and behold, during the day, I'll see an ornament of a purple hippopotamus. And I'm like, well, that was weird. My brain
Mhm.
literally is creating my reality. It's sending out the signal and I'm drawing it back to me.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of possibility when you change your mind and you go, I'm going to do something different. I'm going to go, what if?
So
Where's
I
the
have a
Hmm.
question
possibility?
going into the what if. I had somebody ask me the other day, I had been kind of posting on social media about business planning and what we're creating. And somebody asked me if what we're doing here inside Truth Bomb Academy with Unlocking My Millions is viable for a brick and mortar business. Can somebody that has a brick and mortar business that's been established use this, what we've created to help them in business?
Why not?
Why not? It's the same business principle.
It's, yeah.
It's whether it's online or it's a brick and mortar. And it's like I think notoriously more brick and mortar companies do like a formal business plan. But then again, I think some of them don't. And it's just and what we're doing, I mean, it's the business plan, but it's also if you're a female and you have a brick and mortar business, there's better ways to do things than I think traditionally we've been told we have to do.
Mm,
And it's like I'm even looking at like, on Facebook, I'm seeing like all these end of the year, I see you see people like giving things away. And they're just like they're having these incredible Black Friday sales. They continue them through the holidays. And I feel like it's like they're trying to end the year. Sometimes they call it gifting. And sometimes, I mean, this lady is giving away 24, like basically $1 a course. She's given 24 courses for $24. And it was just like, okay, first of all, that screams there's zero value here. There's no, and it's like, at least in my head, I look at them like, what kind of value is in a course that's costing you $1? Or it's saying that as soon as you click on this, it's going to be upsell after upsell after upsell before you actually get to the checkout. And in either way, it's just like, why do we feel like it's like sales is one thing. I love sales and getting something for, extra, like sale is one thing, but giving it away for nothing, it's like why it's like I see so many and see so many people doing that, like they're just devaluing their resources, they're devaluing their products. And but it's like we do it whether it's online or brick and mortar.
Hmm.
I mean, I don't necessarily see a difference in how you're running your business, but you just have extra bills. In brick and mortar, I mean, they have more bills.
Utilities, leasing, signage, they
Overhead.
just have a
Yeah.
different
It's
set of
it's a different,
expenses.
yeah. But it's
Yeah.
not, but the concepts are the same.
Mhm.
Yeah. No, and it was just interesting when somebody asked that because I realized if somebody's asking that question, they really don't understand what a business plan is because I truly believe that not enough even online businesses set up a business plan. And typically when you get into the brick and mortar of the traditional business plan, it is set up to help, get the idea out of your head. Unfortunately, and I was been dreaming about this the past couple of nights, the traditional business plan method is even outdated because finances have changed over the year. How we bank, how money moves, how things have set up from the traditional business plan that we've been given, a lot of how we value things and how things are being built is different than what it was. We have a lot more technology nowadays, and especially with the banking methodologies and the systems that we're using inside Truth Bomb Academy and what we're teaching are vastly different than traditional,
Mm-hmm.
right? But they're being more widely adopted in the entrepreneurial space because it makes more sense for how we run businesses, right? So you're starting to see traditional business plans start to kind of give way or feel like they're a little outdated. You can kind of feel that when you go through it because it asks for information and questions that would be more towards a banker. But we have private investors. You can crowdfund. You have so many different ways to finance and grow your business that are outside of the traditional business plan. So to really keep hold of those old traditionals, like you've shared, Karen, it's like it's that old thought process. What if you looked at something differently? What if you saw business planning a little differently? And when I look at what we've put together inside of Unlocking My Millions, it's a very untraditional business plan. It really does incorporate so many elements of being a human being and building a business that is not something you traditionally find. But the thing is that's where we're moving. That
Mm-hmm.
is where we are thinking. That's where we're growing. That's what social media is driving. That's what business is driving. So what we've put together inside of Unlocking My Millions as the female business plan really is the letting go of the traditional and stepping into the newer, better planning of business and specifically working with women because here's what I know. Women, once they see this, once they experience this Unlocking My Millions, will really take everything that we've given them from the marketing to the money to the mindset to the branding to audience building and will be the first to implement it in such a way they'll grow faster than our previous anything we've taught in the past in business. I truly believe that because women, we talk about being flexible, and I think really that flexibility and embracing these new ways of building because they make more sense will actually move the women's businesses faster and we'll do it with more fun playing ease. I truly believe that because the mindset, the money, the marketing all have shifted so much, and the traditional business planning doesn't account for that, at least as it stands today, in my opinion.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, and at
So,
the end of the day, I do feel like we put a lot of that creative left brain thinking in there as well, where it's like, or right brain. I'm sorry. I've been saying this backwards, haven't I? Your right side is your creative side. Your left side is your logical side. So I
Mm,
apologize. I said that backwards earlier. But we include a lot more of that right brain thinking where you have more of that creativity and you can actually enjoy the process and go, wait a minute, my brand doesn't have to look a certain way. That doesn't have to look the way that this guru told me it has to
yeah.
look. I can actually have fun in my imaging. I can have fun. I can have unicorns because
Yes.
I do in my video marketing unicorn. I had unicorns in there because why not?
Oh, because we've been totally told that we have to
Told you
have
can't?
professional looks. We have to have the professional female
No.
photograph, the power photo.
That feels gross to me. That
Yeah.
just makes it's so
Sorry, shake that
inauthentic.
off.
Yeah, it's so inauthentic that it creates this stuffiness, and people are not attracted to that, especially in today's day and age. I feel like Instagram really broke people where they're like, I don't want that perfectly polished Instagram feed. I
Mm.
don't want
Yeah.
that anymore. Like people did for a
Oh yeah.
long
Oh
time.
yeah.
I mean, 2010, like people wanted that. Now it's like, no, like TikTok came along and it was like video was king, but video also showed all of the imperfections.
Yeah.
And
Mm-hmm.
along with that came a lot of people that were like, I love that. That person feels way more real to me than this perfectly polished Instagram feed.
Mm.
Like, to me, at the end of the day, I want to be connected with somebody that's real and
Right.
that is actually like me and not above me. That's not unreachable. Because, like, I mean, think about it. Like, even with Hollywood stars, like, we look at them and we're like, that's unreachable. There's that thought process
Mhm.
that we can let go of too. But that is the first thought that a lot of people think when you look at a Hollywood star. That person's unreachable. But
Mm-hmm.
when you look at social media and you find somebody that you're like, hey, they're like me, they do the same thing I do, then it feels like you can actually have a connection with somebody else online.
Yeah.
And with 2020 and the pandemic and everything, like we have gone more online than ever before. And we're looking for more of that authenticity online because we were like, oh, wait a minute, we have to be online. We have to be at home. Like there's no
Couldn't
other
hide your
option.
house anymore.
Yeah. Yeah.
Your bedroom showed up in your videos now because that
Mm.
was your office. Welcome.
Yeah,
Well.
exactly.
Mm.
Yeah. So it's just, I don't know, it's definitely shown that like the world just wants authenticity at the end of the
Hmm.
day. We're
Yeah.
tired of the perfectly polished. It doesn't serve us. It's not real. Nobody can keep that up. Like, I'm sorry, but it's impossible to look awesome all the time.
And I think with women especially, I mean, I was actually, I saw something the other day. It got posted in our community by one of our members. And my only thought process really around this was, damn it, I wish a woman would have said this, right? Because I love our men for saying this, but they're like, women are doing themselves more harm by how they see themselves in the mirror. And he did like a comparison that men see themselves or view their last image of themselves and look in a mirror like, like 168 times, right? But a woman will look themselves in the mirror and they'll look at and evaluate themselves like 1.3 million times throughout the day. Every imperfection of how they look, the way they're dressed, the clothing, whatever, like they're constantly judging themselves. And he talked about the 6 foot rule. He goes, get a full length mirror and literally measure back 6 feet, ladies, and stand 6 feet from the mirror. Because at 6 feet, all the imperfections go away. At 6 feet, you can't see everything that you're trying to nitpick. And he said, at that moment, stand in front of the mirror and tell yourself that you're amazing, that you're beautiful, that you're gorgeous, that you're, everything like that thing. And I was like, it's like we're hearing this from the men because the guys are out to change how women perceive themselves. They really are one of the biggest advocates, especially in the small business and coaching world, because they recognize that women are approaching business vastly different than they are. They don't understand how we're doing it, and they're trying to figure us out. They're trying. They're really trying. But the best support we can give to each other is women teaching women and really compassion and showing love and allowing ourselves to support each other and
So
compliment each other.
one thing I would say too with that standing 6 feet back, what if as you started looking at yourself in the mirror and you go, man, she's beautiful. What if you started inching closer to the mirror
Yeah.
and then you started seeing more
Yeah.
and you started getting more into view and still saying to yourself,
She's
man,
beautiful.
she's friggin' beautiful.
Yeah.
Look at that line on her face. That is a lot of wisdom there.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. Like,
That's
what if you could do that? And that's
yeah.
what I talk about inside Female Millionaire Code.
Yep.
Right.
It's like you teach yourself, you start talking to yourself in a way that you can believe. And as you start to believe it, you start to up the ante and go, okay, I've started to really wrap my brain around that. What if I started telling myself this?
Yeah.
Can I believe it? It's the same concept as inching closer to that mirror and going, God damn, she's beautiful. God damn, she's got a lot of wisdom in her. There's a total different energy that comes from you when you start to look at yourself in that way and just say, man, she's beautiful.
I agree. And I think women really need our self-talk to each other and our self-talk to ourselves.
Hmm.
It is all connected. I think I truly believe women have the ability to really look at themselves and acknowledge their beauty. And I did find it was interesting. I did ask on social media whether women like the word goddess or queen. It was fascinating because honestly, most of them preferred the word queen or neither. And
Mm.
I really find this fascinating because I feel like what has us as women deny our own greatness? Because I really feel like either when you say queen or goddess, it is not necessarily a deity. And I found it even more interesting that when you started looking up godfather and godmother, right? Like in terms of like the religious secular, and when you looked up goddess and for that, what was interesting is that the male version of those words have evolved over time to have different meanings. Women have not asked for the evolving of that language to serve us. Like we still have it as that it's a single entity or a deity, but godfather is like somebody that protects. Well, I think a godmother is somebody that also protects, right? I think it's just coming at it from two different ways, but we've never evolved the female language of how we perceive ourselves. We've let it be dictated to us instead of us really controlling the conversation of how we want these words to represent us and the beauty of who we are. And we've let society and majority of the men dictate that this is how this word is going to be, but we as women have evolved. We've changed, we've challenged a lot of things, but we've not asked for that definition and those verbiages to be added into the dictionary, as if we don't have the right to change the word.
Mm.
Well, what's sad when I see that is that that means that people haven't fully embraced their creativity. They haven't fully embraced their ability to be a creator in their own right. When somebody says, "Well, I'm not a goddess because that makes me this kind of thing." Well, but how come? What if it didn't have to be that way? Ask yourself, well, what if it could be different? What if the thought that you're thinking doesn't serve you? And what if you looked at it from a completely different
An angle.
perspective?
Yep.
Yeah, just looking at it from a different perspective. Maybe it's not a religious perspective. Like this is something I asked myself when I completely went through my Christian deconstruction and went, it doesn't serve me anymore. Because I started looking at it from a different vantage point, learning different things and going, I'm okay that it doesn't serve me anymore. I'm okay that I've evolved as a human being and decided that that's not for me. For some people, they go the opposite direction and they're like, no, that really works for me. And I am incredibly happy for you wherever you fall. Because
Right.
for me, at the end of the day, all I care about is that you're a happy, healthy human being that absolutely loves yourself, that realizes that you are beautiful no matter what, inside out, that you are perfect in every single way.
Yeah.
That's just who you are in your insides, in your outsides, all of it.
It's a pretty amazing place to be.
Hmm.
And it's going to take time. Honestly, we we've let control of how we perceive ourselves. We've been given words that define us that we don't push back on. And I think over time, this will be something that as more women start to fall in love with themselves again and
Mhm.
really understand who they are at their core, this will all start to shift, and it's not going to become the Me Too movement. It's not going to be an us against them movement. It's going to be, how do we complement each other in this greatness that we both carry, right? Male and female. Like, where does that balance really happen? And that's even like when we looked at like the traditional, it's not like we're saying it's got to go 100%. It did serve its purpose, but it no longer serves anymore. But it doesn't mean we forget the tradition. It doesn't mean we don't forget, we remember where this comes from. We're taking we're taking elements,
We're
and
taking elephants.
we're
It's
taking
fun.
elephants and we're migrating them through the same
Purple
remembering
too.
plane.
Yes.
Yes, we're taking
Purple
elephants. We
elephant.
say yes. Purple elephants, darn it all. Purple and
Yes.
blue elephants. They're totally
Exactly.
following us everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
But that's the fun part, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
it's taking it, and we've always said, the three of us, you said we're going to reimagine what it looks like to be a female in business.
Mhm.
And I think really this year has been so much fun to reimagine and redesign and go, are we sure that's like, is that a truth? Like, we've questioned a lot of things on your behalf, ladies. Um, and we've really challenged it even for ourselves. And then we've brought it into the community, and we've asked the women who have gone through the training, those that have gone before you. And we recognize that we are really onto something super powerful and super amazing. And that's why we continue to talk about unlocking my millions. And that's why it will continue to be the forefront of what we do for our business, because that 9 weeks will transform your life in ways you'll never know until you experience it. Like, the experience of those 9 weeks will shift a lot, both I think internally and externally for you, because we're having a conversation that's never been had before, and we're doing it in such a way around business and life and what you're up to that it's really a beautiful thing. It really is. I love what we're doing. It's so exciting.
It is exciting.
Yeah. And we have a lot of amazing women coming into the community right now. I mean, just so many powerhouse women in different businesses that are coming in that are, even for themselves saying, yeah, something needs to shift. And that's why they're coming in, because they are making the money, they have the business, but they're recognizing they're not keeping hold of the money. They don't have the systems in place to really expand outside of them and allow them to be the owner of a business and not necessarily always be the employee of the business. So it's going to be fun. All right, I think we're going to wrap it up. So we do have an amazing training coming up this Thursday. For those who want, we have the Female Millionaire Code, where we talk about how to 3M your profits. So if you're in business as a female entrepreneur and you're like, I'm struggling, I'm not breaking through, I want to get to that next level, nothing seems to be working, then we invite you in to check out the Female Millionaire Code. Head over to truthbombmarketing.com/code. Join us in this incredible interactive workshop. You'll download your workbook, and we'll have a lot of fun just going over these 3 ways that you can really own, play, and have fun in your business. So, and take it to that millionaire level, because that's what we want every single woman to do. All right. So with that, anything else, ladies?
Yeah, call it a wrap.
All right. We'll see you all soon, and continue watching us. Oh, hit the subscribe button if you're on here with us. Subscribe on YouTube with us. She's got, I don't know if we can give 5s. Can we give 5s?
Oh no, it's like
Thumbs?
YouTube. Nope, thumbs up. Thumbs up.
Yeah.
Oh, I got a little
Oh,
bubble.
You got it on Zoom too.
I don't have that feature anyways. So subscribe to us here on our YouTube channel. Continue to follow us for more education, business training, fun, play, and ease as we help you rock your world into 2024